Hello and welcome. Find a comfortable space, take a deep breath in, and let it out. For the next 10 minutes, we're going on a journey not to a new place, but to a very old story. A story about a family, a deep betrayal, and a power so profound it doesn't just heal wounds, it rewrites futures. We're going to talk about forgiveness. Not the polite, it's fine, kind. Not the forgetting kind, but the costly, liberating, seismic power of true forgiveness. And our guide is a man who lived it, from the depths of a pit to the heights of a palace, Joseph. Let's set the scene. You know the story. Joseph, the dreamer, the favored son with the fancy coat. His brothers, seething with jealousy. They toss him into a pit, sell him to slave traders, and tell their father he's dead. It's as a wound that cuts to the soul, betrayal by the very people who should have had your back. For years, Joseph's life is defined by that betrayal. Slave, prisoner, forgotten. He had every right to let that wound define him, to become bitter, angry, to dream only of revenge. Haven't we all felt that? When someone's action, their word, their betrayal, becomes the central chapter of our story, we rehearse the hurt, we build walls, we wear the identity of the one who was wronged. Joseph had the ultimate revenge fantasy land in his lap. Decades later, a famine brings his starving brothers to Egypt, bowing before the powerful vizier, who is him. They don't recognize him. He holds their lives in his hands. He could have them imprisoned, enslaved, executed. Justice, right, an eye for an eye. He toys with them a bit, testing them. But the moment of truth comes in Genesis 45. His brothers are terrified. Judah offers himself as a slave to save their youngest brother, and something in Joseph breaks. Open. He could no longer control himself before all his attendants. And he cried out, "Have everyone leave my presence." And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard him. "I am Joseph," he said to his brothers. "Is my father still living?" But his brothers were not able to answer him, because they were terrified at his presence. "Come close to me," he said. When they had done so, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now, do not be distressed, and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here. Because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. Come close to me," for words that dismantle decades of distance, fear, and injustice. He doesn't say, "You are forgiven" first. He invites intimacy. He reestablishes the relationship, "I am your brother." And then he does the miraculous. He reframes their story. "You sold me, but God sent me." This is the explosive core of forgiveness's power. Joseph does not excuse their evil. He names it, "the one you sold." He looks the truth right in the eye. But then, he chooses to see a larger tapestry. Forgiveness is not saying what you did was okay. It's saying what you did was wrong. It hurt me, but I will not allow that act to be the controller of my heart, my future, or our story anymore. Joseph saw that his pain had a purpose, to preserve life. Maybe your pain has a purpose you can't yet see. Maybe the purpose isn't in the betrayal itself, but in what you choose to build from its ashes. Forgiveness is choosing to stop letting the person who hurt you continue to hurt you, by renting space in your mind and poisoning your heart. So, let's get practical. What does Joseph teach us about wielding this power? First, forgiveness is a process. Joseph wept loudly. He had to send everyone out. It was messy and emotional. He didn't bury his hurt. He felt it fully before he could release it. You don't have to rush. Start by honestly naming the hurt, maybe in a journal or in a prayer. What they did was, "It made me feel." Second, forgiveness is seeing the bigger picture. Joseph zoomed out. From ground level, all he saw was the pit. From 30,000 feet, he saw a divine plan to save a nation, including his own family. When we forgive, we choose to see our story as more than just a chapter of our victimization. We choose to believe our future is bigger than our past. Third, forgiveness is an act of self-liberation. Who was in prison the moment those brothers walked in? Joseph. He was still chained to them by unforgiveness. The moment he said, "Come close to me," he was the one who walked free. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Forgiveness is setting down the heavy weight you never needed to carry. Fourth, forgiveness can restore, but it doesn't always mean reconciliation. Joseph restored his family, but that was possible because his brothers showed changed hearts. Forgiveness is your solo journey. Reconciliation is a joint venture that requires safety, honesty, and change. You can do the first without the second. The power is yours to decide. Is there someone you need to come close to in your heart? Not necessarily physically, but to stop pushing them away in your spirit? A parent, a friend, a partner, yourself even. Maybe the person you need to forgive most is you. Joseph's brothers were terrified, angry with themselves. He spoke directly to that guilt. Do not be angry with yourselves. Perhaps you've made choices that haunt you. The power of forgiveness flows inward, too. You are not defined by your worst moment. Joseph's story ends with a tearful reunion, a moved Pharaoh, and a family restored. But the true miracle wasn't the reunion. It was the transformation in Joseph's heart before they ever arrived. He had already chosen his ending, not an ending of vengeance, but an ending of redemption. Your past has brought you to this moment, to this point.